Hello, I'm MBFree, and this is QnA Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel, where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so on my channel. These tend to be about half split between questions about the next update, which we're currently calling TU53 or TU54, and questions just about the rest of my life in general. So yeah, this week's Q&A is hopefully going to be a good one. I hope you do all enjoy it. You can like the video too, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do like the Q&A Saturday. So yeah, these questions all come in response, basically, to the big news we had this week and our first screenshot of TU54. It's exciting stuff, but the first question actually is about dual wielding in the update, because Luke Bullinger says hashtag QnA, or QnI I think that might be, do you think they will add dual wielding and not the new combat? So this is a a really popular kind of like compromise solution. People suggest a lot of the time, like, oh yeah, what they could just do is they could have one of these things without the other, add new combat without dual wielding, or add dual wielding without new combat. And although I didn't think it was very likely until recently, I think the way the Pocket Edition has done it, where they've added dual wielding but only for very specific items, it's not new combat yet, makes me think that maybe that's the way they're doing it on the console. Because bear in mind, in that screenshot where we saw maybe dual wielding, we did, they didn't put any emphasis on it. It was a very hidden thing that only, if you watch my channel, you maybe saw it and stuff like that. Only a very few people know about this so far, and that makes me think that maybe it's going to be one of those downplayed features. Just introduce dual wielding, see if anyone even notices, give people just the option to ignore it if they want to. If it's on the D-pad and they don't ever mention it, then most people might not even realize, and then maybe do the other stuff later after people have adjusted that. I think that would be the best way to do it. I think that might be a good kind of compromise solution, and it's something that I feel like seems more likely. I thought there was like, 1% possibility before. Now I'd say it's maybe half and half as to whether they'll do dual wielding without new combat or whether they won't. And I think that honestly might be a good halfway point to like kind of stop the giant feuds, because we've only just got over the fact that now there's a survival update. It's better if we don't have this giant war over like, oh, but should they add new combat and the survival? Let's just, go half day there before the full way there. And that's what I would guess, and that's what I think is happening. So that's the answer to your question, Luke Bullinger. Let's move on to the second one, which comes in from Mr. Gamer 5, who says, do you believe in aliens? And I believe this is kind of like a response to the stuff I said about conspiracy theories, where I said pretty much every conspiracy theory is based in just like kind of, lying and misbelief and trying to just like, it's fun to believe that something that people don't believe exists, and aliens sound like they'd be like that, but I'm actually going to go the opposite way on this and say I believe there are some form of aliens out there somewhere. I think it would be very ignorant to assume that, we've got a universe the size of ours with this many planets, and one of those probably contains some form of life, whether that life is more advanced than ours, or whether it's just, worms or something. I think there are aliens somewhere in space, but there is the big question of why we haven't seen them yet. This is like a really big thing in space that I wonder about sometimes, where like, it's called the Fermi paradox, where if the universe is as big as it is, there should be thousands of other alien, planets out there, and if, the universe is as old as it is, like billions of years, then why has no alien civilization gotten to the point where they can come reach us? And this makes me think we'll probably never see another alien race, but I do think they exist, and we might be able to like see them in a telescope one day, and that would be kind of cool, right? Or maybe by some crazy coincidence, we're like the first people that will go around and like colonize all the aliens. That's my dream, that's my belief, and yeah, I think aliens exist, but I don't believe we've ever seen them. I think that's a little bit crazy to believe, but that's just me. I'm sure you can have your own opinions about like Area 51 and whatever else, but let's move into the next question, which comes in from XCuscus Pro, who says, hashtag Q&A, do you think Elytra firework boosting will be added in the next update? And the simple answer to this question is the fact that, yeah, I think it will be, because we've already seen one feature from Minecraft 1.11.3, the last 1.11 update, and that was the Iron Nuggets, and that was a pretty, small feature. It's a pretty confusing one to show off so early. It makes me think that if you're going to go to some of 1.11.3, why not add all of it? Because there's only like 4 features in that update, so I think we will see Elytra firework boosting. I have to imagine like 99% that, it's 99% chance we will, because you got to bear in mind, the other interesting thing about doing it that way is they could make their glide minigame better by adding fireworks as like a game mode. So yeah, I think firework Elytra boosting makes so much sense on console, because we have that Elytra minigame, and because I think it will just make survival a bit more fun. So yeah, firework Elytra boosting, I think it's going to be great. I'm going to make a bunch of fireworks now, just in case, and I'd recommend you do the same, because it's totally coming in TU54. So with that said, let's move to the fourth question, which comes in from MBFree425, who says, will you ever stream on Twitch as you stop streaming on Mob Crush? And you are correct, I did stop streaming on Mob Crush, so why have I not moved over to another platform? Well, honestly, most of the Mob Crush, not the time I spend on it, I replaced with either the second channel or with live streaming on this one. I like doing the random live streams, even though I don't turn them into videos after. I think it's a fun opportunity to like kind of hang out and, talk about like, I don't know, Finland not existing or whatever it is. Yeah, I think it's actually a great little fun time to do that, and I do enjoy doing it on YouTube mostly, because that's where I can reach the most audience. I've actually had conversations with Twitch, but like I've had really bad experiences with Twitch in the past, and like I've been going back and forth with someone from Twitch, like, can you give me a partnership because I meet your requirements? Well, we can, but we're gonna have to go through all these steps first. So I think diversifying to Twitch might be a good idea, but right now, all YouTube gaming, make sure you hit the bell so you can see whenever I'm streaming. I'm gonna come up with an opportunity every single video to bell me. It's gonna be great fun. So yeah, bell me if you want to see those live streams, because they're on YouTube. So with that said, let's move to the next question, which which comes in from Sulla Papoise, who says, Toy Cat, what is your favorite book that hasn't been made into a film yet? So, my first thought to this was like, you know, some childhood books. I used to read, they're by a author called like Enid Blyton. I don't know how you even say that, but like they're for children, so whatever. That's kind of cool. But like I really enjoyed these books about this like tree. I think it's the Magic Faraway Tree or something. But the problem with it is they'd always go to like these weird, wacky worlds, and I wouldn't even be able to picture it because the books were written in like the 1920s or something. Like I had no idea like how to picture these weird things they were referencing. So I'd love to see a movie of that, just because I could like see my childhood and this nostalgia would be good. But the best book that you know, haven't been made into a film that I think actually should and actually would and that I would enjoy objectively as an adult is probably Mogwald by Yahtzee Kershaw, because it's a book set inside an MMORPG. So it'd be cool to see a film set on a book based in a game. I just think that'd be an interesting little movie, and I think video game movies in general do an okay job right now. Wouldn't it be great if we had a book video game movie? Sorted. All three medias, all combined. That would be the perfect mix for me, and that's why I want to see that. So yeah, thank you for the question, Sofa Boys. Let's move on to the next one, which comes in from Dark Screen Gold, who says, how was your stream pizza? So I did order pizza during a stream this week, and let me just say, I went on and on and on about like, okay, you don't just take normal cheese on your takeaway pizza, you go for extra cheese, and you preferably go for like triple or quadruple cheese. And I did exactly that. I went for quadruple cheese, and I was like, you know, this is gonna just taste too much like cheese. But it was delightful. It was one of the best pizzas I had in a while, and I ate the whole thing and felt really gross, but totally worth it. So yeah, stream pizza, wonderful. Thank you for asking, Dark Screen Gold. If you didn't watch that, by the way, that was I think last Thursday's stream. Fun time. I like it. You know, people, if you donate, Toy Cat might buy a pizza with the money. Those are the rules right there. So yeah, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from the Ultimate Girls Master, who says, how popular do you think you are in the adult society, Toy Cat? So I think this is a little bit of a weird question, honestly, but the interesting thing about this is I was trying to think about it, like, I wonder if there is, you know, some magical, you know, like hierarchy system like there, you know, is in schools that you can tell kind of clearly. But I wonder if, you know, if something like that does exist, I wonder what I would be like on it. But I think the truth is when you're an adult, unless you're in like some workplace which is kind of schooly, I think there isn't really any like ranking system or hierarchy, because you only hang around the people that actually enjoy you and find you popular. Like everyone is a popular adult. The only reason we have children who are, you know, more or less popular is because, you know, you're all in this big confined area where everyone knows everyone. But once you remove that, once you like, you know, you have your own friends that are kind of located by yourself, everyone can be the coolest thing in the world. And I think I thought that was a cool revelation, so I wanted to share it with you. I don't know how popular I'd be if you were like, oh yeah, let's try and rank everyone. Like maybe, I mean, lots of people like me on the internet, but probably not, you know, too amazingly high. But I think the fact that you don't need to, as an adult, do that stuff, it's like, it was kind of relieving me, like, oh yeah, you don't. And I thought maybe that's a revelation some of you can enjoy sharing in. And if you can't, then, well, there's a question for you anyway. So let's move on to the next one, which comes in from Adrian Ant Gamer, who says, would you consider making a battle map and sending it to 4J? So I see a lot of people ask stuff like this, like, oh yeah, you've made these maps and that maps, why don't you ask 4J to put them in the game? But honestly, there's no way to actually send a map, especially not for an Xbox One, to 4J Studios. There's no way to do that just yet. I think when map sharing comes out, it'd be so amazing if like they could do like competitions for the next, you know, free battle map that everyone gets to download, or if they just let you play minigames on it by default. I think that'd be such a great way to kind of like encourage community spirit, and I'd really like to see that, honestly. So am I going to make a battle map? No, because, you know, one, my battle maps wouldn't be good enough to send to them, but even if it was, I don't think there'd be any way for them to accept it, and like, what are they going to do, release it for free? You know, I don't know what they do with that, but I think this is like a golden idea just to throw in here that like, that would be such a fun thing. And I would say, you know, based on the off chance that maybe it does happen, and maybe your existing worlds could be shared, you know, wouldn't that be great if you start working on one now? So if you have a battle map out there, then maybe at some point you can send it to 4J, but I can't make one that's good enough, and I don't know if we even will be able to send them for a very long time, or even if they'll accept them, but I think it'd be great regardless. So that's the longest like clarification I've added to anything in the end. But let's move on to the final question we have here, which isn't a question, but it's a collection of answers questions, and I was like really impressed with it because it answers so many questions people ask all the time, because, you know, maybe this is their first Q&A and they just haven't heard these ones before, but they're the most commonly asked questions they get all the time, you know, like daily on my channel, like multiple times. But it comes from Casey Mill, and I was just kind of impressed by this because, like, you know, it's impressive if someone's collect this much information, and I figured why not share it with all of you. So yes, my name is Andrew, I am 21 years old. The Toy Cat is there because I want a short name, Toy plus Cat, and then the IVX part comes from the RuneScape clan. I live by myself in London, England. I was born on July 13th, 1995. That makes me 21 years old. You can do the maths It'll be 22 soon, actually. So yeah, you can do the maths on that one, and that July, that means my birthday soon. Maybe you should get me a birthday gift. I don't know, you can super chat me, or you can subscribe, or you can, I know there's Amazon Prime memberships, I get some cut off, so there you go. I was born, I do live in London, England, roughly thereabout anyway, with no pets, but Cookie and Coco, who you might see from videos, they live with my parents, and I lived with them until very recently, a short while ago. So, also, I have made some videos if Minecraft is dying, so if you ask the question over and over again, is Minecraft dying? I've made a whole video on it, and the answer is basically no, but, you know, you watch the video for more information. My job is just YouTube right now, that's what I do full-time, you know, or YouTube channels, and then everything else I do, and then also my Xbox gamer tag is Toycat, my PlayStation gamer tag, or PSN ID is IBX Toycat, and on Nintendo devices it is Toycat, but you can't add me on those without a weird code. I have a second channel called IBX2Cat, and they complemented my name. I make a bunch of geography videos that you might enjoy. Also, I live stream at 8 PM UK time for Tuesday and Thursday every single week, as well as random streams throughout the week, and also when there's an update, I live stream as well. All of that in one comment. I was just really impressed with it, so I figured I'd feature it here, not only to like kind of show off how impressive the Casey Mill comment was, but also so that you know all of that information, which you now do. So I hope you did all enjoy this week's Q&A. You can like it if you liked it, you can share if you liked it, and you can subscribe if you are new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if subscribed, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.